What he calls ultra MAGA Republicans, whatever that is. He might consider, though, going on the offensive against his own party, according to the latest polls. Joining us now to discuss this is Chairwoman of the Republican National Committee, Ronna McDaniel. Ronna, good morning. Good to see you.
Great to be with you. Good to see you.
So we got a lot of polls to go through here. I want to go through this new USA Today Ipsos poll. 56% of Democratic voters believe it's time for a change within the Democratic Party, and that goes all the way to the top. 56% say maybe Joe Biden shouldn't be the guy to run for re-election in 2024. Here we are. We're only 19 months into Joe Biden's term in office. How unusual is a poll like that?
I think it's incredibly unusual. Obviously, if you added Republicans in there, it'd be a lot higher.
Right.
And then I think if you added congressional members in his own party, it'd be a lot higher because they don't want to be seen anywhere with Joe Biden. They don't want him on the campaign trail with him. They don't want him showing up in their states. If he shows up, they suddenly have a scheduling conflict because they know that he is toxic. His numbers are underwater, and the American people across the board, Republican, Democrat, and Independent, recognize that Joe Biden has been a failure as a president.
Yeah, good point. And to Pennsylvania, so Donald Trump is going to hold his first rally since the raid 22 days ago on Mar-a-Lago. He'll do that Saturday in Pennsylvania. But Joe Biden, to your point, is going to be talking there on Thursday. He'll try to rally for Democratic candidates there. John Fetterman, who's in a really tight race with Dr. Oz. He's leading in almost every single poll, but within the margin of error. He has said that he's got a scheduling conflict. We heard Stacey Abrams say the same thing several months ago down in Georgia. What do you make of that?
I think John Fetterman doesn't want to be seen with Joe Biden. So he's come up with a convenient scheduling conflict. Like you said, Stacey Abrams did the same thing. Tim Ryan has said the same thing in Ohio. Joe Biden is kryptonite to these Democrat candidates. And it says a lot when in a battleground state like Pennsylvania that the Senate nominee is refusing to campaign with the President of the United States because he thinks it will hurt his campaign. And I think this is why Democrats are hoping for a different candidate for 2024. You're already hearing them talk about that. I will say from my standpoint, I hope Joe Biden's the candidate for 2024. We want him to run again.
Yeah, the only candidate that I can see right now that really wants the Joe Biden endorsement is Charlie Crist running against Ron DeSantis down in Florida. He said, no, I'd welcome Joe Biden in Florida. I don't know if that'll make things better or worse for him in Florida. But Joe Biden recently called 74 million Republican voters semi-fascist. I'm not sure what that means, but Karine Jean-Pierre was asked about that in the briefing room. Take a listen to her response.
What MAGA Republicans have done, and you look at the definition of fascism, and you think about what they're doing in attacking our democracy, what they're doing in taking away our freedoms, wanting to take away our rights, our voting rights. I mean, that is what that is.
So when she said that, I didn't know if she was talking about the raid on Mar-a-Lago. That seems like something a dictator or a fascist government would do to a political enemy. But what did you make of that?
Well, I think they've been in the polling room. They've been doing focus groups, and they've settled on some language, which is MAGA Republican and fascist. I don't understand where they're going because all they want to do is divide this country, and they're continuing to name call 74 million Americans who are suffering under Joe Biden's inflation, who are suffering under Joe Biden's gas tax, who many of them are now going to pay the college tuition of Harvard graduates and Ivy League students, people who are Uber drivers and Lyft drivers and waitresses and hardworking Americans who are struggling. I think every American should be called a patriot. I think the Democrats to call 74 million Americans fascists is so offensive, and to see our commander-in-chief continue to double down on division, name-calling, and disdain for half of our country shows why he is unfit to lead.
Yeah, his inaugural theme was America United, January 20th, 2021, and now he's calling everybody that voted for Republican candidates in 2020 fascists. CBS came out with a new poll yesterday that said, yes, Republicans will retake the House by 12 seats, but they will not retake the Senate. We're 69 days away from midterms that are going to be really important, hugely consequential. What do you make of a poll like that?
Well, we have seen poll after poll be wrong in the past several elections. We have our Senate candidates working incredibly hard. They are absolutely on the rise in Pennsylvania, Ohio, Nevada, Georgia, Wisconsin, all across the country. These races are tight. So, what I do say to everybody is get engaged, support these candidates, donate to Herschel Walker, Oz, Laxalt, JD Vance. We need that support. But I am very optimistic as I'm traveling the country and working with these candidates day in and day out. And I'll tell you, the House candidates, especially when you're with a Monica De La Cruz or a Cassie Garcia or a Wesley Hunt or Jen Kiggins, I mean, we have such a stellar cast of candidates. And I can go on Zachary Nunn in Iowa, Ryan Zinke. I think that we're going to have a really good election. It's going to come down to each individual race. We're not going to take anything for granted.
Yeah.
But the enthusiasm I'm seeing makes me feel very good about it.
Yeah, and it's going to be, Ronna, it's going to be interesting to see how things change when people really start to tune in. We're not even to Labor Day yet, so I'm not convinced that people are really focused on the elections just yet, but it's going to happen soon. I did want to get to this. You tweeted out a photo of a vandalized GOP headquarters down in Seminole County. What happened here?
Well, you know, Joe Biden went out and called Republicans fascists, and then somebody went and vandalized one of our offices. And, you know, this is personal because we have young staffers that work there. This is frightening for them to be terrorized and to go to their workplace like anybody and see that the words of the President of the United States leads to an action like this. So we are absolutely supporting our colleagues in the Seminole office. We want them to get back to work. But this is an example of words matter. And when the President of the United States calls Republicans fascists, people follow suit and they vandalize Republican offices.
Yeah, and it further sort of foments this violence that we've seen over the last couple of years. Ronna McDaniel, so good to see you. Thanks so much for being with us. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Good to see you.